What if you were born in India? You open your eyes on a crowded neighborhood on the banks of the Ganges. Around you, 1.4 billion people, endless honking in your ears, a mix of spices and dust in your nose. Your father is probably carrying stones on a construction site, working as a porter, or spending 14 hours a day behind the wheel of a rickshaw. Your mother isn't idle either. She's cleaning houses in wealthy neighborhoods or running a tiny stall on the side of the road. You've got 4 or 5 siblings at home. Congratulations, you've landed in a typical Indian household. Forget a private hospital room and gentle nurses the moment you're born. It's a crowded ward, exhausted mothers waiting in line, noise everywhere. Life is already telling you, from your very first breath, that things won't be easy. Your first couple of years are spent in your family's arms, more or less. After that, it's the street. You eat on the street, wash on the street, and often even relieve yourself on the street. Because hygiene simply isn't a priority here. It's a luxury. Especially in the slum areas of big cities, homes are built so tightly packed and unplanned that laying sewer lines is nearly impossible. Some houses don't even have a single square meter to spare for a toilet. On top of that, there's the traditional mindset. In some communities, keeping a toilet inside the house is still seen as polluting the home. The result, even access to clean water becomes a daily struggle. By the time you turn 5, you're already an apprentice of the streets. Because you have to earn your own bread. Your family simply doesn't have the means to support you. You're running through the narrow alleys of Delhi or Mumbai, and your eyes work like a scanner. Who's got coins in their pocket? Who might take pity on you? Who's about to chase you off? You learn to read all of this in seconds because you have to. So why are people so poor in a country this big? Here's the strange part. India ranks among the largest economies in the world, even surpassing Japan to claim 4th place. But that big pie is being shared among an enormous crowd. And most of the wealth is concentrated in the hands of a tiny percentage, a handful of billionaires. At 7, the system pushes you into a government school. There are 70 or 80 other kids in your classroom. The goal here isn't to raise someone who thinks critically or questions things. It's just to teach basic literacy and check the box as quickly as possible. If you actually want a good education, you'd have to study day and night just to pull yourself out of that crowd, but your family's budget doesn't allow for it. On paper, the literacy rate looks pretty high, over 80%. But behind that number is a massive gap. In the wealthier southern states, the rate climbs above 95%, while in poor, overcrowded regions, it drops to around 70%. And the real problem is quality. Being able to write your own name and read a simple sentence is enough to count as literate in the statistics. After about a year in school, you're back on the streets, and around this time a little sister is born. That's one more burden on your shoulders, because in many traditions, the birth of a daughter brings worry rather than joy. Thanks to the dowry system, a bride's family is often expected to give the groom's side money, gold, sometimes even a vehicle. Because of this, girls are frequently kept out of school and pushed into housework and childcare from a young age, sometimes married off as early as 14 or 15. As for you, there's no luxury either. In a poor family, a child isn't seen as another mouth to feed, but as another pair of hands that brings in money. There's no social security system for old age, so the number of children a family has becomes its retirement plan. Official figures put the number of child laborers at around 10 to 12 million, but independent research suggests it could be as high as 40 or 50 million. Some carry bricks in kilns, some weave carpets because their fingers are small and nimble, some change oil at auto repair shops. You get a taste of nearly all of it before you finally find your own spot. By 15, your hands have gotten used to the work, but there's no job security to speak of. If the shop owner lets you go today, there are dozens of other kids waiting at the door tomorrow. Still, one dream keeps circling in your head, opening your own little shop someday. By 18, with years of savings, you finally manage to rent a tiny space. The old phones, broken radios, and dead irons that people bring in saying, let's just fix it instead of buying new, get a second life because of you. Because for most of India, luxury cars and the latest phones are simply beyond imagination. Turning 18 also means you can officially vote. There's a curious rule during election season. No voter can be required to walk more than 2 kilometers to reach a polling station. So even if a single person lives on top of a remote mountain, officials will carry a ballot box up there just for them. But deciding who to vote for is a whole other matter. There are thousands of registered political parties. The real power, though, rests with just a handful of national ones. While most of the population survives on a few dollars a day, the wealth of those elected to represent them is jaw-dropping. Corporations fund campaigns, and in return, politicians hand out contracts and tax breaks. So no matter who you vote for, the wheel keeps turning the same way. By 21, you should be grateful just to be healthy, because the healthcare system leaves a lot to be desired. Public hospitals are overcrowded, doctors are in short supply, and the number of beds is laughably low. You might wait weeks for a simple checkup, and seeing people sleeping on blankets in hospital courtyards is completely normal. 21 is also the legal marrying age, and the vast majority of marriages here are still arranged by families. Newspaper pages are filled with matrimonial ads listing caste, income, and skin tone preferences. The caste system touches nearly everything here. Marrying outside your caste is unacceptable in most families, and marrying outside your religion is seen as staining the family's honor. Being born into a higher caste is framed as a reward for good deeds in a past life, while being born into a lower caste is treated almost like a punishment. Religion, in a way, turns this inequality into fate. Even if everything falls into place, there's still the matter of dowry. For the wealthy, a wedding is a display of power. For middle and lower income families, it's often a debt trap. A family might borrow from moneylenders just to afford 3 days of festivities and end up spending the next 20 years paying it off. Weekends bring big family gatherings, evenings bring neighborhood fairs, and street food is everywhere. When you need to travel between cities, the vehicle of choice is usually the train, and it's packed. On average, around 20 million people ride the trains every single day, which is roughly the entire population of Australia moving on rails at once. By 25, your wife is pregnant, and you're waiting for the birth of your child. On a cool evening, lying in bed staring at the ceiling, the same thoughts keep circling. Will you make rent this month? Will the gas cylinder in the kitchen last a few more days? Can that hole in your shoe be patched one more time? And with those thoughts, your eyes slowly grow heavy? That's it for this video, friends. If you made it this far, don't forget to hit like, and if you haven't already, subscribe. We'll see which life we get picked for next time.